Hallo meine lieben YouTubies, herzlich willkommen zum 8. Let's Play The Forgotten City. Jawohl, so sieht's aus. Was machen wir heute? Spoilerwarnung, was machen wir heute? Wir werden dem Obelisken die 4 Tafeln zurückgeben. Dann werden wir gucken, wie wir in die obere Zisterne kommen. Wir haben ja einen Schlüssel von Duli erhalten. Ja, that's the plan. Das ist der Fahrplan für heute. Das machen wir. So, hier haben wir auch das letzte Mal aufgehört. Hier geht es auch weiter.
Isn't this temple imposing? Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the golden rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far?
Mir geht's gut, danke.
Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We all need something to help us through times like these. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived. I used to lay awake at night contemplating...
Sag mir jetzt nicht, dass dieser Volldepp da wieder runterspringen will.
Is there a way out? What is the golden rule and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned.
Gut. Ich werde jetzt gehen.
All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Orpheus, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea. Why do you think I'm stuck for the...
I know. Please.
I'm sorry, but...
Please, help him. Thank you.
You know about that? How is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone. Well, if you say so. You don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over. It's too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact. And she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her. I can't do that. No. Time's up. I'm out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Orpheus, no!
Toll.
I'll have... and I...
So. Tafel Nummer 1. Tafel Nummer 2. Tafel Nummer 3. Und die letzte Tafel. Wir machen das sofort. Erstmal bitten wir Aquila um Hilfe der Götter. Ups. So, mein weiter Weg. Equizia, Entschuldigung.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? I beg your pardon. Oh my, that is quite a lot to take in. Let's see. We'd have Herc, sis, and so it. May Fortuna guide you.
Das ist irgendwie nicht das, was ich erhofft hatte. Dann gehen wir jetzt einfach rein in den großen Tempel. Ist ja ehrlich gesagt egal. Wenn die mir schon nicht helfen möchte. Und die Götter auch nicht. Gehen wir halt in den Tempel. Wo sind wir denn hier? Krass.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will.
Was ist das für ein Ort?
It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago.
Okay. Wie hoch war euer Einsatz?
That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting.
Krass. Richtig krass. Ich frage einfach mal durch, wer sind eure Verwandten?
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Proserpina.
Wer hat die Stadt gebaut?
As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten.
Wie habt ihr entschieden, wer hierher kommt?
To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's obol, or as coins for the ferryman. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for, only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Persephone's along with it.
Wie haben die Menschen von der Unterwelt erfahren?
It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth.
Lasst uns über etwas anderes reden.
Of course.
Seid ihr für die goldene Regel verantwortlich?
That is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing.
Was ist für euch eine Sünde?
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not?
Es scheint auch nicht so, als hättet ihr daran festgehalten.
Enough. You clearly know nothing.
Warum Leute in Gold verwandeln?
That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful. Both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold, and when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching, and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, as silent golden sentinels.
Also seid ihr für das Erlöschen all dieser Leben verantwortlich?
I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. And so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it.
Woher kommen diese goldenen Bögen?
When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies.
Woher wisst ihr, wann jemand eine Sünde begeht?
I am able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes.
Ist Propersina auf die gleiche Weise mit den Statuen verbunden?
If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask?
Ohne Grund.
Then what an odd question.
Ich habe hier schreckliche Dinge gesehen, die für euch keine Sünde waren. Wie konntet ihr zulassen, dass solche Taten geschehen?
Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example?
Preistreiberei für lebensrettende Medizin. Selbstmord. Schuldknechtschaft. Experimente an den goldenen Statuen.
The merchant. How is that inconsistent with the rule I've outlined?
Er würde auch nicht wollen, dass jemand einen unverschämten Preis für die Medizin verlangt, die er braucht, wenn er im Sterben liegt.
I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway.
Ihr könnt nicht wissen, was er erwarten wird. Das ist reine Spekulation.
Applying this rule always requires speculation to some degree. It requires us to ask what another person would want if they found themselves in another situation.
Ist sie dadurch nicht grundsätzlich subjektiv und unzuverlässig?
Not if we're wise enough to know the mind of man.
Und ihr glaubt, ihr kennt die Gedanken anderer Menschen.
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want?
Ich hab recht und das wisst ihr.
Then your desire to be right outweighs your desire to survive. You will make a fine statue.
Genug geredet, ich bin bereit, dem jetzt ein Ende zu setzen.
Do you really think you can wound me, a god, with that primitive weapon?
Ihr mögt unsterblich sein, aber eure Geliebte ist es nicht.
How dare you threaten her? This ends now. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. No, you vile, despicable creature.
Da haben wir wohl etwas falsch gemacht. Wir laden den letzten Speicherstand mal.
And here you... My... It is... My kin and I... As you wish. It is... That is... You all yet... So we revealed our... For it... Mike... We be... And... Hot... And... They will... As the... To ensure the wage... It... Of course. That is merely the name your people have given to it. Very well. Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here?
Ich komme aus der Zukunft.
If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
I cannot know.
Ich hatte mir von euch eine Antwort auf die Frage gehofft.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine slumbered for 3,000 years.
Solltet ihr das nicht wissen als Gott der Unterwelt?
Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek?
Ich möchte, dass ihr der goldenen Regel ein Ende setzt.
Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule?
Die goldene Regel korrumpiert diese Stadt und sorgt dafür, dass ihr niemals den Einsatz gewinnt.
How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up.
Oh. Rufius ist so paranoid geworden, dass er auf Schatten wie Virgils Sexualität anspringt.
He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one.
Maleolus hat Menschen in Schuldknechtschaft gefangen, indem er sie davon überzeugt hat, dass eine Rebellion euer Gesetz brechen würde. Decius preist die lebensrettende Medizin an, weil er weiß, dass niemand sie mit Gewalt nehmen kann.
His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day.
Decius preist die lebensrettende Medizin an, weil er weiß, dass niemand sie mit Gewalt nehmen kann.
True. I have witnessed him doing that.
Das sind alle Beispiele, die mir einfallen.
Pathetic. You will need to do a lot better than that.
Wie könnt ihr von uns erwarten, frei von Sünde zu leben, wenn ihr es nicht einmal selbst schafft?
That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it?
Ihr habt hunderte Menschen schrecklich bestraft. Einige wurden für geringere Sünden bestraft, andere hatten überhaupt nichts verbrochen.
Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peers lived virtuously. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them.
Wenn unsere Rollen getauscht wären, dann würdet ihr auch nicht wollen, dass ich euch für die Sünden anderer Leute bestrafe.
Ah, but I am a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I treat my own kind? You are not a peer. You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights?
Nein.
Of course not, because that would be absurd, just as it would be absurd for me to treat your kind as equals.
Inwiefern ist euer Volk meinem überlegen?
Where to begin? Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands of years, in which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine.
Ist man durch Weisheit und Technologie überlegen?
Because that is the source of our power over you.
Ihr meint also, ihr seid
You
nicht
could say
verpflichtet,
that.
uns fair zu behandeln? Wie sagten schon die römischen Stoiker, behandelt euren Untergebenen so, wie ihr von euren Vorgesetzten behandelt werden möchtet.
My kin have no superiors.
Aber sagtet ihr nicht, Jupiter sei euer Anführer? Es gibt eine Hierarchie innerhalb eurer Art.
That is true. Go on.
Behandelt ihr Menschen so, wie ihr es euch von Jupiter wünschen würdet?
Make your point, mortal.
Ich will damit sagen, wenn ihr schon eure eigenen Regeln nicht befolgen könnt, wie könnt ihr dann erwarten, dass es die Menschen tun?
Let me ponder that for a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no, the very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster?
Ihr seid kein Monster, ihr seid ein Mensch und ihr habt einen Fehler gemacht.
Wait, what? What are you saying?
Menschen machen Fehler, das liegt in unserer Natur.
You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpita's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that?
Oh, gute Frage. Vielleicht hat er auch einen Fehler gemacht?
A mistake? But he is the best and greatest of us.
Vielleicht habt ihr, als ihr menschliche Gestalt annahmt, auch einige menschliche Schwächen angenommen.
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now, and I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
Wir wollen lediglich in unsere Welt zurückkehren.
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
Warum?
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready?
Ich bin bereit.
Farewell, mortal.
Wow, komplett zurück.
Oh!
Oh,
Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al.
Alworth? Ich bin hergekommen, um dich zu suchen.
Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared, said barely a word, and entered the temple of the mysterious god, this one here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook, and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him, and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
Klingt etwas weit hergeholt.
I don't know, it reads like an earnest account to me. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
Ich bin direkt hinter euch. Juhu, Freiheit!
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple.
Gute Idee.
You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al?
Ich hab ihn gefunden. Er wird gleich hier sein.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
Ich habe herausgefunden, dass du nicht die bist, für die du dich ausgibst. Ich erinnere mich daran, dass ich dich vor 2000 Jahren getroffen habe.
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Wer bist du wirklich?
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time.
Welche Wahrheit wäre das?
That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
Wie bin ich gestorben?
Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
Ja, das will ich.
As you wish. You were murdered.
Was?
You were exploring an old tomb when you discovered a cache of forgotten relics, including 2 silver coins of ancient origin. Unfortunately, as you emerged into daylight, you were set upon by 2 thieves. A nearby hiker saw the scuffle break out and leapt to your aid, trying to help you recover your bounty. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you followed a few hours later. That man's name was Al Worth. You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Charon's Opal by some, and so it was my duty to bring you here.
Pluton sagte, die Münzen, die Al und ich hatten, sind die letzten, die es gibt. Was bedeutet das für dich?
It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course.
Was ist an diesen Münzen so besonders?
Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans burying their dead with a coin in their mouths to pay the ferryman for passage across the river. Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here.
Ja, Pluto erwähnte, dass meine Münze die letzte sei. Was bedeutet das für euch?
It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company.
Könnt ihr uns ins Land der Lebenden zurückbringen?
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
Ja, in Ordnung, Sharon. Fahren wir zurück. Ein Jahr später.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Galerius! Alte Socke! Galerius, was macht ihr denn hier?
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Karen appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life.
Seid ihr jetzt bei Equitia?
I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're going to be around, we'd love to see you there.
Das wird mir gefallen. Zählt mich dazu. Was habt ihr in der letzten Zeit so gemacht?
Oh, I used Karen's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Es war schön, euch wiederzusehen, Galerius.
Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Good evening.
Hello there.
Ihr müsst Centilla sein.
Oh, I go by Gabriella now.
Oh,
I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name.
welche Monster?
You didn't hear? My adoptive father, Sentius, locked me up in the upper cistern. to stop me from escaping. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him.
Klingt, als hätte er bekommen, was er verdient hat.
Mhm.
Was habt ihr in der letzten Zeit so gemacht?
I'm living by myself on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's something Ulpius and I used to talk about doing when we got out, and I thought that's what he would have wanted. But it's been hard. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's just not the same without him. Mostly it just reminds me he's gone.
Tut mir leid, das zu hören.
Oh, it's hardly your fault. I'll be alright. In time.
Es war schön, euch kennenzulernen, Gabriela.
Thanks. You too.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
Die Stimme kenne ich doch.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
Ihr habt die ganze Zeit mir zugeflüstert?
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
Ihr habt getan, was ihr konntet, danke. Ihr habt die Zeitschleife geschaffen?
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath.
Was wurde aus Pluto?
I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
Was wurde aus Charon?
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day.
Es war nett, euch kennenzulernen.
And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
Natürlich.
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
Ah! Ende 4 von 4. Also 1, 2 und 3 haben wir nicht. Ich habe aber jetzt keine Lust, das Spiel dreimal durchzuspielen nochmal. Wir tippen auf Fortfahren. Developed by Modern Storyteller. Das war The Forgotten City. Mir hat's wahnsinnig viel Spaß gemacht. Ich hoffe, euch beim Zuschauen natürlich auch. Und ihr gebt mir die Däumchen nach oben und vielleicht ein ganz liebes, nettes Kommi. Wer weiß. Wir sehen uns im Livestream montags und donnerstags wieder oder im nächsten Let's Play. Bis dahin. Tschüss.